All right, it's take two. Saturday glitches. What do you do? What do you do? What do you do? All you can do is dance. When there's a glitch, dance. Come on, join me. Get up off the couch, out of your chair, wherever you are, and say, hey, we're live again. Yeah, we are. Yeah, all right. Enough dancing. Holy mackerel. So this is a busy workbench today. A very, very busy workbench. And I'm hoping we can keep going this time. All right, let's be official. All right, so if you're one of the fellow students and you arrive after I rang the bell, you got to go to one of the moderators. They're the one with the wrenches by their names, and get a late pass from them. Otherwise, you're going to be in summer school. No one wants to go to summer school. No one wants to go to summer school. Not me. No. So let me tell you a little bit about what we have here on the workbench. Number one, we've got our centerpiece that's going to be the main focus of our live stream today. It's going to be the main focus. And this was sent to me from the great state of Alabama. I always want to say it like in the movie Forrest Gump. I just do. Alabama. I just want to do it. I got to do it. So this was sent to me by Jan Dixon. And Jan Dixon is the daughter of Betty Maxwell. Betty Maxwell was the original owner of this machine. And I'm not going to go into all the particulars, but I know that Jan is planning on being in the audience today. So you can ask her a little bit more about her mom's machine and how she acquired it, whatever she decides she wants to share. But she also sent me some really cool stuff too. See if I can find it really quick. And I'll put on some more fun music while we're waiting for me to find it. And again, I'm not going to tell you what kind of machine it is. Don't ask Jan what kind of machine this is, because that's part of the fun of unboxing, is we kind of go through a series of discovery and then eventually, pizzazz, there's the machine. And we finally know. But this is a very special machine that goes all the way back to Jan's mom, Betty Maxwell. And it looks like she would have acquired it right around December 28th, 1954, in that general time frame. No, that's wrong. I'm reading the note wrong. That's when Jan was born. Jan was born right around the same time that this machine came on the picture. So I wasn't totally wrong. So this machine is going to be from the 1950s. That's all I'm going to tell you at this point. And if Jan, as the owner, wants to give away more details, hey, she's the boss. That's up to her. What else can I tell you just from her note real quick? I'll kind of look at it, blah, 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 blah. Here, maybe I'll show you a picture of Jan's mom. I want to say that this is Jan's mom and Jan. So this is Betty Maxwell and Jan. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that that's who that is. Didn't they dress to kill back then? Didn't they? Look at that. Beautiful dresses, matching, beautiful car in the background. That is just an era. That's just an era that I miss. Do you ever miss it? I miss it. I just miss it. Yeah. Let's see if Jan sent me any other cool pictures. And Jan can clarify if that is. I think that is Jan's mom standing next to her as a little girl. She's only about 3 years old, 3.5 years old or something like that. And here's a later picture of Betty Maxwell, the original owner of this, Jan's mom. And what? Wow. She's just a beautiful lady. Look at her. Isn't she fabulous? So this is a family heirloom that Jan has entrusted sending to me at the workshop. And it's not the first time that this has happened. And that's part of what I wanted to open this up with a little bit, because all of us talk about, we talk about the workshop magic. We talk about the paint shop magic, kind of what I've done to machines that have gone to the paint shop, like this one right here. And I'll talk a little bit about that one too, and then we'll move it out of the way. Because the owner of this one that had me prepared for her has been really patient waiting. And she's a Wisconsin girl too. So I'll get this out of the way first. That way I'm not, bleh, you know. So this is Marie Matson's 301. She said, she reached out to me. She said, Scott, I want the big sister to the featherweight. I want to get a 301. I want to get a 301 with a long bed. And the cool thing about the 301s, they were the predecessor of the 301As that came out later in Anderson, South Carolina. So this is the inception of the big sister. This one right here came out right around 1952. Not too different from the machine we're going to unbox today. And Marie has been patiently waiting. I'm in the final stages, back from the paint shop, getting it all tidied up, getting it all reassembled, polishing all the parts that the fruit flies are after. Polishing all the parts that need to be polished, and then eventually premiering it. And then she'll be driving down from Iola, Wisconsin. Has anyone ever heard of Iola, Wisconsin before? It's kind of hard to say. Try saying it right now in the comfort of your own home and see if it kind of Iola, Wisconsin. But if anyone wants to Google Iola, Wisconsin, it's spelled IOLA, just like it sounds, IOLA. If anyone wants to Google it and say something interesting in the chat about Marie Matson's 301, where this machine is going to call home once it leaves the workshop, reach out afterwards and I'll send you something special. Seriously, reach out. Maybe I'll send you some yummy chocolate or just something really cool. Maybe I'll grab something out of the workshop and send it to you. So let me move Marie Matson's out of the way. And if Marie is watching this or watches this a little bit later, her reaction is going to be something like this. Yeah, something like that. She's been waiting, been very patient. And you can see that this has gotten the workshop magic already. Yeah, it has. Yeah, that's what happens when machines go to the workshop and when they go to the paint shop too. Yeah, that one. Yeah, okay. All right, so that's out of the way. Now the next thing real quick, and then we're going to jump unboxing, but I got to do another unboxing first. This box right here, and I'm going to do it to some special music to honor my friend. Turn this music down away so I don't have to yell. Oh, I also should greet everybody. Let me greet everybody that is in the chat right now. Let's see who we have in the chat. Welcome to Emma and Mindy. Hey, Mindy. Mindy sent a real sweet note to me. And if you don't know who Mindy is, you've just, I don't know, you've been under a rock somewhere. Because Mindy is from the great state of Nevada, from Las Vegas, the Las Vegas area. And yes, she sees Elvis every day, and we're all jealous and we're all envious, but what can we do? All we can do is go to the movies and watch the new Elvis movie, which I don't know if any of you have seen the new Elvis movie, but there's kind of a mixed review on it. If you want to talk in the chat a little bit about the Elvis movie with Mindy, since she's from Las Vegas, you know, in that neck of the woods where Elvis spent a fair amount of time, then feel free to do that. But Mindy sent me just a nice note saying, hey, just checking in, just touching base, letting you know that I haven't abandoned you. I've been sitting in the shadows a little bit. And Mindy's always been in the front, hey, here I am. So she just decided she wanted to take a back seat for a little bit so she could really concentrate on the content of what I'm presenting, which is, I'm really kind of honored by that, because that means what I'm saying has value and she wants to tune into it. But I said, and then also Emma said as well, because Emma was mentioned in the note along with Paula Noel. And Mindy basically said, Scott, you're so busy during live streams. You're off doing this, you're doing that, you're showing this, you're showing that. And I just want to say that Emma and Paula in particular, those two ladies have done a fabulous job of managing things for you, taking care of folks, making them feel welcome, helping to answer questions. When we have our folks visit, like Christina, when we have the wonderful gal from Brazil visit, Emma will usually jump in and do translating. And then we had another great person visit us the last time that did the translation for us. At any rate, all the blah, blah, blahing is to say, it's great to have Mindy here. It's always great to have all of you here. But when you've been away for a while, and I'm kind of thinking in the back of my mind, I wonder what happened to, I wonder if everything's okay. And then all of a sudden you reach out and you go, hey, I'm okay. Just been kind of sitting in the shadows. It's always great. It's always great to have the family back together. So, yeah. All right. Who else didn't I say hello to? I said hello to Paula, to Mindy. I said hello to Mindy. Is there anybody I missed? I'm scrolling down. I don't see anybody else in the live chat yet, which means maybe Jan is having trouble finding us. So I don't know if I can maybe I could send a quick note to her, a text, and tell her how to get to the live stream. I think she knows. She may have just had a little bit of a delay or with the first glitch and the first live stream going, maybe she got confused. So I'll send her a text and just say, we are live. We are live. There we go. Okay. So this other box, and if anyone tries to text me during the live stream, I put this on silent, so I may not respond. So I'm not ignoring you. I think I am. Yeah. All right. So let's see. All right, good. So this other box right here, what's the story on this? Some of you will remember, and my music ran out. Some of you will remember, there we go. Some of you might remember Alberto Orozco. And Alberto was the gentleman from Dallas, Texas. And he reached out to me and he ended up sending a machine to the workshop. One of the legs got broken off on it while it was shipped here. In the process, whoever packed it for Alberto didn't do a real good job, and one of the little pedestal feet on this machine got snapped off. So I had to do a repair on it. I had to service it. I had to tune it. I had to replace a couple of parts. And eventually I got that machine back out to Alberto in Dallas, Texas. And he was so excited about it. He called his sister over to show her this renewed, revitalized machine. Big mistake, because sister saw that machine and said, Alberto, I want the same machine, please. So he reached out. He goes, I know these are not horribly common machines, but if you could track, this is fun. I'm kind of rocking here. Whoa. I know they're hard to find, but if you could find one, it would really make my sister's day. And then she and I can sit down together and maybe even sew on the same machine type at the same time. So I searched and 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 I searched. I found one. And so I ended up preparing that machine for his sister and sending it down to Texas. Well, as some of you may have remembered, because many of you are faithful followers and you're like, I remember this story. Didn't he have health issues? Wasn't his life in jeopardy? Yes, it was. And he just recently passed away at 92 years of age. But it was after a number of years with the machines that I sent down there where he and his sister, his family, his daughter, everyone would gather around these machines and watch Alberto do his sewing. He was really an accomplished sewist. And even at the age of 90 some years of age, he could still lay down a line of stitching that a lot of seamstresses would be envious of. Well, out of the blue, I didn't know that Alberto had passed away. Out of the blue, I get an email and I shared it with my leadership team. I shared it with Paula, with Emma, Veronica, Bill, Michelle, I'm Sonny. If I forgot anybody, I'm Saturday brain. But I shared that note initially from his daughter from New Mexico, Diana Orozco. And the note that she sent by email was just so heartfelt. It was basically saying, I don't know if I did this in the right way. I don't know if I have the right email address. I hope I found the right guy that did the machine for my dad and for his sister. And so I ended up emailing her back and said yes. And she says, I want to send you something. And I basically said, well, thanks. You don't have to do that. But she ended up sending me something. And she let me show you what it is. Let me show you. Let's open this and take a look. And the cool thing about the work that I do, is I've got the opportunity to make connections with people all around the world and around the US. And in the simple act of preparing or restoring a sewing machine, I have an opportunity to get to know that family, and they get a chance to get to know me. And they share with me the impact that the work that I did had. Let's look at this first, and then we'll look at what's in the box. So I don't know if any of you remember I don't know if I showed a picture of Alberto. But this is a gentleman that was born on August 7th, 1929, and just passed away in June. And this is a picture of him. This is actually a picture of the bulletin that would have been handed out at his memorial service. And some guys are awkward about saying it. I'm not going to be awkward about saying at all that Alberto was a good-looking guy. He was a good-looking guy. I can only imagine he was still a head turner, even into his 90s, because good-looking people, they change, but they're still good-looking. And so Diana sent this to me so that I could, in a sense, vicariously enjoy the special celebration, as it says here, the celebration of life for Alberto Orozco. And she also wrote a really nice note. I'm not going to read the note in its entirety. And then also on the back of here, Alberto obviously was from a Catholic faith, a Catholic background. And then also he, before his death, had actually written down a special note to his family and to close friends. I'm just going to hold it there and see if the camera might decide to focus on it. It's probably kind of hard to see. Maybe I'll post these on Facebook too, so that folks can actually read what Alberto wrote. But isn't that kind of neat? It's not neat to be sick and to know that you're going to die, but it's neat to have the opportunity to write something to the ones that you love about your passing before you pass, and then be able to share it with them. But, I'll just mention a couple of things about Alberto. He comes to the country. He faces a lot of the challenges that immigrants do with, people not liking Mexicans, kind of what his daughter wrote in the note to me. And he goes on to become an educator. He serves for decades as a principal in one of the local schools down near Dallas. And then he also goes on to also work for alcohol, tobacco, and firearms as well. He works for ATF and is able to do good there as well. Just an amazing life, a legacy life that he lived. And I'm sharing this with you for two reasons. I'm sharing this with you because it touched my heart. It touched my heart so much that for a good amount of time after I read her note, I just had tears coming down my face, because I thought all I did was repair and restore a couple of sewing machines. But his daughter said the joy that it brought him, the fullness of life that it brought him in his last years celebrating that machine, And celebrating that machine that I also prepared for his sister was so significant. It just touched the entire family, and what a rare opportunity that is. All of us have a chance to touch lives, but we sometimes don't even know about it. And then to get a note and to discover the impact that you brought through the work that you do, it's just I don't know. It blew me away. So she writes a couple things here. I'll just read it to you real quick. She says our family has enjoyed the videos on your YouTube channel, and we are grateful to be able to reference the abilities of Dad's machine and the one that he gave to his sister as well. Sending you my remarks from my dad's funeral only to explain the pen. Apparently, Alberto loved pens, and so she wanted to send one of the pens that he had in his collection of pens. I won't say the next line because it tells what's in the box. But we sent this to you because my brother had the idea to send it to you. He saw it on I think Alberto's desk or near his sewing area. Sorry this has taken so long to send to you. I'm overwhelmed reviewing and clearing out my dad's house. I just returned from Dallas with 3 embroidery machines, and I could not fit into the car 2 sergers and accessories and the machines. I have the task of selling them, and I'm clueless. I haven't the time to clean out all the pens, and am sending one to you. Thanks for giving my dad joy in his final years. I will remember the day he showed me the machine you repaired and restored with utter joy on his face. Diana. And Diana lives in New Mexico. So this is what they sent to me. Apparently, Diana's brother saw it on the desk. And I'll wind it up and give you a little listen to it. And then we'll jump into this unboxing for Jan. I hope I don't overwind it. I'm not good at winding things. So. And it's a shame Bill is in here because he probably could name this song straight away. Many of you could probably name this song as well. Anyway, you get the idea. It's a beautiful piece. I don't know where Alberto got it, if he got it as a gift from one of his kids because they knew his love of sewing. They knew his love of vintage machines in particular. But it's a special treasure to me now, isn't it? It's a special treasure. Every time every time I look at it, I'm going to think about this very special man. I'm going to think about the blessing of getting to know this family. So, all right, I'm going to move into the other unboxing now. So again, back to this unboxing that we're going to do now. Comes from the great state of Alabama, and from Jan Dixon. This was Jan Dixon's mom's machine, Betty Maxwell. I showed you those pictures of Betty, and then also Betty with Jan standing next to her just as a little girl. So this machine has been in the family forever, and part of the perfect timing of getting this box from Alberto's daughter from New Mexico just yesterday, as I was anticipating doing this live stream today to show Jan's mom's machine, is, and this is the big giveaway clue, the machines that I prepared for Alberto that went down to Dallas, Texas, that had such a profound impact on him, his sister, and then the rest of the family is the same type of machine that we're going to unbox today. There's a big giveaway. So if any of you that are really, really, really good in your memory, or you remember that particular those particular videos I showed in presenting those machines for Alberto and his sister, we're going to unbox the same type of machine today. And so the big giveaway clue is, as soon as you see Herr Obermeister from Germany, you know right away that it's going to be a German machine. And if you remember the machines I prepared for Alberto and his sister, then you already know what machine we're going to look at in here today. You don't see these machines very often. They're very, very rare. They're very uncommon, especially with the setup that Alberto and his sisters have, and the setup that Jan's machine has as well, that belonged to her mom, Betty Maxwell. So, and I'm not looking at the chat. I don't know if did Jan eventually join us? Don't see her in the chat, but maybe she's not able to chat with us and she's in the shadows for some reason. I don't know. But let's take a look at this, and I'm going to put on some more. I typed in Latino for music today to enjoy that flavor of music. So, yeah. All right, let's get to this. This is really nice foam. Let me show you inside of the box a little bit. Why do ladies write so beautifully and most guys don't? That was the unique thing that Diana talked about, Alberto's daughter. She said he loved pens and he had the most beautiful handwriting. And I remember that when he mailed me the letters and that, and other things that he sent to me in the mail. He had gorgeous handwriting. I don't have that. I don't have that beautiful handwriting. I'm going to have to get a ghost signer if I ever get in like a really important role and have somebody sign my name for me. But isn't that beautiful handwriting? Just lovely. So this super thick foam is just an additional option that you could exercise to do, just as Jan did here, in lieu of packing peanuts, because in certain parts of the country, it's getting to be almost impossible. It's almost like a contraband item in trying to get packing peanuts, especially out on the West Coast. They're very, very negative about packing peanuts. We're getting a lot of wavering on the screen today, aren't we? Let me shut off this light above here and see if that helps. Oh, where's it? That one there, I think. Did it eliminate it? Yeah, see? And that's the problem with these LED lights up here. They're great for doing my work in the workshop, but they're horrible for shooting videos. So let me start pulling out this real thick foam that Jan used, which I'll end up reusing this when I send this machine back to her, because this is fabulous stuff. And no, 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 Mr. Bean, you cannot take a nap on it. I know you'd probably like to take a nap on it. Yes, it's very soft, it's very comfortable, but we're right in the middle of an unboxing right now, and you got to go back over there and stand with Herr Obermeister, okay? Yeah. Yeah. Mr. Bean is always ready for a nap, always ready for a break. So let me set the camera back up, and we will continue unboxing this very special machine that belonged to Betty Maxwell, Jan's mom. This is so much nicer than styrofoam, too. Hint, hint. If you're sending a machine to the workshop, hint, hint. Foam, not styrofoam. All right, let's take a look inside the box again. Oh, good Lord. Let's just say that that is a heavy, heavy machine. So this padding that Jan used is also across the bottom as well. So probably a good 3 inches thick, and it affords a really, really good cushy ride to that machine from the great state of Alabama. And I don't know what the distance is from Alabama to the workshop here in Oconto, but if someone wants to Google it and just type it in the chat for curiosity's sake, that would be super cool. And I can even give you the I'll give you the city, so you got a city to work with. Go ahead and do the distance from Lexington, Alabama to Oconto, Wisconsin. Just type it in the chat. I'm just curious what the distance is. Yeah, I'll leave that in now. Just maybe scoot it a little bit closer. Just gonna look at the chat real quick. Yeah, I don't see Jan yet, unless you're up above. Let me scroll with the chat. Drops. Well, she'll be able to watch this afterwards. If for some reason maybe her internet went out or something else happened, she'll be able to check it out later. So we're just going to keep on marching forward. I don't know if you can see it, but it's such a pretty shimmery green paper on the inside. I don't know if it's a paper or bubble wrap or what it is, but it's gorgeous. Hopefully you can see that in the shot. It's almost like an emerald slipper, like Dorothy from Wizard of Oz or something. Isn't that lovely? My bubble wrap is so boring compared to some of the stuff that y'all use when you send stuff to the workshop. That was a fun little song, wasn't it? Yeah, you can see that Jan did a very, very good job of trying to keep this machine safe. Once we get it totally taken down, we'll check the bottom, make sure none of the feet got broken off or anything like Alberto's, and then we'll kind of keep on marching forward. Yeah, this is marching music. See, this was part of my concern right here, and it's looking pretty good so far. See, right here we have one of those. Right here we have one of those pedestal feet. Another pedestal foot right over here. And it's not punched through. That's always a good sign, right? This is a real tricky one because of how tightly this is wrapped. I had to kind of take the edge of the knife and kind of catch underneath the stretch wrap to get it loose. And again, whenever you're unboxing a machine, just really be conscious of how deep you're cutting. Set your blade, like on these, you can loosen that. You can set it really short or make it a little bit longer when you're going to the outside box, but set it nice and short. You can always cut through layer after layer instead of cutting through too deep and doing damage to the machine. You don't want to do that. I wanted to say Olay there, but I was good. Does anyone else love Latino style music? Salsa music, that sort of thing? Oh, get me going. It works, I'm telling you. It always ends too fast too. Did you notice that? The music always ends too fast when it's that salsa Latino style. Oh, I love it. Give me another one. Yeah. See what I mean? We were just getting into it and now it's ended again. I'm going to petition the Latino National Organization and say, make longer songs. Make longer songs. Please. That's another layer. Another layer. Jan did an excellent job of packing this. Well done. See what I mean? They get you all excited and then they're like, oh, okay, song's over. Kind of like the lifeguards. You're just starting to enjoy the pool. The water's perfect. All of your friends are there. You're playing volleyball or some other game in the water. And then that doggone lifeguard, what do? They blow the whistle and they say, all right, everybody out of the pool. All right, what else do we have? I think that's all of my music. Now I have to type in a different search. Let's see here. There's only 2 songs. I typed in the word Mexican since that's the word that Diana used in her letter. You know, just the hostility that a lot of people had towards the Mexicans. And I guess in some respects, there still is a lot of tension about that now, isn't there? Yeah. Oh, there's Jan. Hey, Jan, welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. The owner is in the house. Oh, and it looks like we have Christina from Brazil, too. Oh, what fun. What fun. All right, let's enjoy some more music and some unboxing. All right, let me give you a peek on the inside. Aha! Many of you, your wheels are spinning. You're saying, I know what that is. No, I don't. But I'm really close. There's a real clear shot right there. Look at that. Most of you are going to know at this point probably what machine this is. If not the subclass, you'll know the main class of this machine. Obviously German made. I won't even say the maker yet because some of you might be new to the classroom and I don't want to give it away. But you can look at the layout of this machine right here. And again, Jan did an absolutely brilliant job of packing this machine. This was her mom's machine, Betty Maxwell. And you know what? She's not going to let it arrive to the workshop in a shambles. So take a look at this. Type in the chat. I'll look at the chat real quick to see if any of you are guessing what specific model this is. And again, it's the same model that I prepared for Alberto's sister and Alberto's and sent it back to him in Dallas, Texas. Yeah, I think so. Holy mackerel! Yeah! Party time! I love this music. If anybody's sitting still to this, check your pulse. Paula, go do wellness checks. Paula is our resident nurse. Anyone that's not up and moving right now, Paula needs to do a check on you. Sex, the whole thing. Yeah. I got to take off my DeWalt jacket. It's getting too warm. Woo! Oh, that's worth playing a second time. Oh, man, that was something. That was something. One more time. Look it up on the internet or whatever. It's called Thump and Jump. Thump and Jump. Yeah, it is. Telling us to jump, so you got to jump. It's impossible for me to stand still, but I'm doing it. So Emma was making an observation. She reflected back to Alberto's and his sister's machine. Both machines I prepared for that family down in Dallas, Texas, were identical, and they are identical to Jan Dixon's mother's machine, Betty Maxwell. So any of you that want to type into the chat, if you said a class 130, you're in the right neck of the woods, but that's not the specific model. So go ahead and type it in the chat. What specific model? And a big giveaway is going to be this little doodad on the back of here. Some people call it a coffee grinder. I call it an embroidery kit. It was the mechanical solution that FOF came up with in order to give their zigzag machine the capacity to do decorative stitching. And there it is right there. It's a magnificent mechanical innovation. Times 10. Just crazy. Okay, let me come down with that a little bit. I won't play that song again, or some of you are going to probably need to call 911. So, yeah. So if someone else wants to type it in the chat by FOF, is this? What specific model? And if you know the subclass, that's even better. I'm just answering a quick little message here. Sorry about that. Okay, so for any of you students that are looking at this machine and you're saying, I know it's a FOF 130 because I can see that right there. Ask one of our moderating team members, Emma or Paula. I don't know if Susie is here or Michelle or Bill or any of the others, but see if you can nail it down to that final subclass, because this really was an innovative machine for FOF. And if anyone knows, if you want to win like a special bonus surprise that I'll mail to you, if you want to win a special bonus surprise that I'll mail to you, then tell me what year the bare bones model of the 130 was introduced. In other words, this came out as FOF's first zigzag machine, the model class 130. What year was that when it was introduced? Because it would have been later that they added this embroidery kit to it. But does anyone know what year the FOF 130 was introduced by FOF? It was a big deal because they had never ever shown a zigzag machine coming out of that factory before in Kaiserslautern, Germany. Yeah, really a big event. And I don't see anybody saying it yet. No one is saying it yet. In a little bit, I'm just going to type it into the chat, but I'll pull up some more music first. Mm-hmm. Tell you what, I'll give you a really big clue if you haven't answered it yet. Oops, I was too slow. Between Emma and owner Jan, they nailed it. 1932. There was another really cool machine introduced in 1932 by another company, by the Singer Sewing Machine Company. And it was none other than the Singer 1591. First direct drive wonders, the little brother to the Rolls-Royce of Singers, the 201-2, that I just live streamed a little bit ago and has arrived safely down in Mississippi. And to say that Elaine is excited is an understatement. So yeah, 1932 was a big year for a couple of manufacturers. Singer introduced their 1591, which was just a marvel of a machine. And they also introduced the FOF 130 zigzag machine, which they later added this embroidery kit to that Jan's machine had. Off the chart capabilities in doing decorative and ornamental stitching. Yeah, amazing machine. All right, let's finish the unboxing, get all this beautiful green bubble wrap stuff off of this machine, and then we can look at it up close. All right, I'll give you guys one more. We're a classroom, so we're about learning. We're about learning in the classroom. I'll give you one more to dig into your archive of knowledge. What year did FOF introduce their first rotary hook style machine? And rotary, again, is, instead of it being an oscillating hook like on the 1591, it's going to be a full motion rotary hook style machine. When did they introduce their first rotary hook style machine? Does anyone know? It was earlier, obviously, than the zigzag. So if anyone knows that, type it in the chat. That's just a little bit of an extra thing that we have as far as adding it to our toolbox of knowledge about the FOF machines. What year did they introduce their first rotary hook style machine? Yeah, Cool. All right. Oh, hey to Susie. Hello to Susie. Susie from the great state of Minnesota. Yeah. All right, let's get the rest of this wrapping off. And notice the type of tape that Jan used. She used a painter style tape, so it's got a nice sticky side to it to hold in place all of this stuff that she has in the harp area, but it doesn't damage the paint, it doesn't damage the decals, and it also doesn't leave behind that nasty sticky residue. And I believe that Jan said she had watched that unboxing I did where the other customer used a regular packing type tape. She says, I'm not going to make that rookie mistake. She didn't say that. I'm saying that playfully. And we all learn, so there's no such thing as a rookie mistake. It's just learning, right? We learn something. It's kind of like the quote I just posted on Facebook by John Wayne, where he says, tomorrow's the most important thing because it's hoping that we learn something from the previous day. And that's the key in life, isn't it? We're not always going to get it right. We're not always going to be perfect, but we can learn from our opportunities, from our mistakes or whatever, and do it differently the second time. Yeah. Oh, it looks like Mindy is bowing out. Mindy, so great to have you from the great state of Nevada, from Las Vegas. Thanks for stepping out of the shadows into the chat today. It's always good to have you here, dear. Yeah, excellent point. Excellent point. I think, was it Susie that just said, yeah, of course we're committed to doing better. It's all about the Kanai principle, constant and never ending improvement, right? Yeah. And I even changed my processes in the workshop to make them better. Yeah, we're always making things better. Yeah, making things better. Not to mention enjoying some good music on a Saturday, right? Yeah. Well, and look at this is regular painter's type tape. It's a little bit different than the type that I use, but depending on the condition of the paint of the machine and the patina, even painter's tape can leave a residue behind or can cause a little bit of damage. Let me show you what I mean. I just took this off right here. Right there. I think I use a 3M style painter's tape, and maybe they're different, but I'll be able to buff that out. You won't even see it when I get done with it at the paint shop. But it just goes to show you, even the better stuff you can use can cause issues. Even the better stuff can cause issues. Constant and never-ending improvement and constant learning too, isn't there? Constant learning. This is a special cleaning agent that I use, and just kind of going over those spots where the painter's tape caused a little bit of damage to the surface to see if I can deaden the appearance of it until I can get it down to the paint shop. There we go. That's better. This spot's giving us a little bit more trouble, but that spot up there, that came out pretty good. This one will need a little bit more work. Well, I'll do more work down at the paint shop, but already we've made an impact on those. There were pretty glaring blemishes left by that painter's tape. So just check your painter's tape, and they're not all going to be made exactly the same. I use 3M painter's tape. I get it at Walmart, and it's pretty good stuff. There we go. It's either a very strong magnet or that's actually glued in some way to the bed. It's a pin trapper, and I thought it might just be a magnet, but this actually is some sort of adhesive back is stuck to the bed. When I take this to the paint shop, I'll have to take this pin trapper off temporarily, and then I can always reattach it if it's what Jan wants. But that sucker's not coming off easily, that's for sure. All right, now we can finally take a look at this machine a little bit closer up. And this is one of the distinctive features of the 130-6 is this cone style light that mounts right near the faceplate here. And it's a great way to direct that light down to the area of the bed or the area of the needle that you're wanting to see what's going on with that project. And Jan and I had talked about this. She said, should I leave it mounted to the machine? I said, nope, take it off and wrap it separately. So that's what she did, and it arrived perfectly. But other manufacturers used a similar cone style light, but they called it a spotlight. Do any of you know some of the models that Singer put the spotlight style light on? Yeah. I'm just opening up a couple of other little things here. This is the foot controller that the machine is currently set up with. It's an electronic style foot controller, and as long as it's rated, there's no problem with using electronic foot controllers with vintage machines. I'm not a huge fan of them because I'm more of a purist when it comes to using an original style foot controller that might have gone with this machine, but a lot of people like them. They don't overheat. You can do a lot of free motion quilting and slow sewing, and because of the design of them, they don't have those carbon stacks in them. They don't overheat. So that really is the preference among particularly a lot of free motion quilters. And this one is fine as far as the rating. If we look at the back of it, I'll just show you the back of this foot controller. See if the camera will focus on it, hopefully. So looking at this foot controller, what is it rated up to? How much amperage tolerance can this foot controller handle according to the manufacturer effectively? Type it in the chat if you would. What is the amperage tolerance on this electronic foot controller that is with Jan's machine right now? Yep, Emma's spot on. It's rated at 1.4 amps. Now, does anyone know what size motor this 130-6? I don't know if anybody nailed that or not, but this is a 130-6. What size motor does this machine come with standard? It's going to be really hard for us to see it because it's going to be all the way underneath. It's going to be way underneath there by the embroidery kit. We may not be able to see it, but I can certainly tell you what it is. We'll see if the camera can even focus on it. I'll kind of hold it still for a second. Can anyone make that out? I can see it in the shop, but you might not be able to see it. But the answer is the motor is rated at 1.3 amps. The electronic foot controller is rated at 1.4 amps. So the foot controller is rated higher than the motor. Is that, and this is a question that I know you already know the answer to, but I'm going to ask it anyway for some of our newer students that might not know the answer to this. Should the foot controller be rated higher than the motor? Or should the motor be rated higher than the foot controller? So we've got a 1.3 amp motor. We have a 1.4 amp electronic foot controller. Is that the correct setup? Is that the best setup for this machine? No, not a three. No, Susie wrote down 3.3 amp motor. No, it's a 1.3 amp motor. 1.3. So it's going to be rated a little bit. This motor, which was actually made in the US and then married up with the machine, this motor is going to be rated a little bit less than the Swedish Husqvarna machines, the green machines that are rated right around 1.5 amps. But it's still a real big motor. 1.3 amps is a big motor. So 1.3 amp motor, 1.4 amp foot controller. Is that the correct setup? I believe Susie said no. What do others think that are in the audience right now? What should be rated higher? Or should they be exactly equal? If this is 1.3, should this be exactly 1.3 as well? What do y'all think? I'll put on some music while you're contemplating. It's kind of a tricky question, isn't it? Not tricky because there's no answer to it. There is an answer, but there's a lot of misinformation out there as well, isn't there? So the correct answer, and both Emma and Paula nailed it. You always want to have the foot controller rated a little bit higher. Got to turn down my volume a little bit on the music. You always want to have the foot controller rated just a little bit higher than the motor. So this is actually the ideal setup. This is rated 1.4. This is rated 1.3. So this is greater in amperage tolerance than the motor. And the reason that you want to have the foot controller rated a little bit higher is because it's the gateway for the electricity to meet up with the motor. The electricity has to flow through this foot controller before it can reach the motor. And that's why using a foot controller that is rated a little bit higher is going to allow the fullness of that motor, that 1.3 amp motor, to enjoy every spec of that amperage that motor could possibly put out. If this is rated lower, let's say that this was rated at, say, 1.0 or 1.1, this electronic foot controller, what it would do is it would hold this motor back. It would actually retard this motor from being able to reach its full potential. So you might have a 1.3 amp motor, but if your foot controller doesn't have a large enough gateway to allow that electricity to meet the demands of that motor, then that motor is going to be underserved and it's going to underperform. And I see that regularly. The other problem you'll run into along with it underperforming is it's going to be trying to demand 1.3 amps. If this is only rated at 1.0, this foot controller, then it's also going to cause the foot controller to potentially become damaged. Not as common with electronics, but it can still happen because it's going to be peaked at 1.0. This motor is going to be saying, give me more, give me more, give me more, give me more. So the ideal situation is this should always be higher than this. always higher, a little bit lower. So a great setup. And I don't know if Jan did this setup or if Jan's mother, Betty Maxwell, did this setup, but whoever did it knew a little bit about electronics, a little bit about amperage tolerance. So this motor should be able to reach its peak of 1.3, no problem. There's not going to be any negative results for the electronic foot controller because it's going to be appropriately matched with this motor and have a little bit of wiggle room in here in case this motor for some reason were to spike a little bit above 1.3, which can sometimes happen depending on your choice and your calibration of the motor brushes that go inside of this motor. Motor brushes that are inappropriately matched to the machine can actually cause the machine to either overextend its amperage tolerance or to underextend. So always make sure when you slide your motor brushes into that little copper sleeve, they should be able to move up and down freely, but there shouldn't be a lot of wiggle room in there. If there's wiggle room, then you've got a motor brush that's mismatched with that motor. And it's probably also not going to match up properly with a commutator inside of the motor either. So all of these things play into the ultimate result of what that machine can do. And that's the only reason I'm kind of blahing about it a little bit. Even most of these motor brushes are going to have a spring return on them. Even the return pressure of that spring and how much it's pushing that carbon stack into that commutator also affects motor performance as well. So that's part of the reason some people just say, I got enough stressors in my life. I'm not even going to worry about all that junk. Let Scott worry about it. And just like Jan had the foresight to say, I don't want to deal with all that. I'm going to send it up to the workshop. So all of you can make that choice. It's certainly up to you. And I just threw this little cloth on here because this metal, I didn't want it scratching the bed. So this is kind of a close-up look of this. Some people call it a coffee grinder. I don't know why, but I guess. And this embroidery kit, it's all mechanical. And it's brilliantly designed. And it has a lot of service points on it. When I go through and clean this and service it and tune it, it probably takes me about 3 hours to go through this entire unit because these are all cam stacks right here that have to be cleaned individually. This little space right here. Let me turn my little light on. There we go. Beautiful, amazing design. Amazing design. All right, we'll just do a quick walk around Jan's machine. I'm not going to plug it in at this point. At least I wasn't planning on plugging in, but maybe I will. Maybe I will. You'll notice another classic design feature on the 130-6s. I don't want to pull this camera too far. I'm going to end the live stream. I'll pull the camera out of the laptop. But another classic design of kind of makes the 130-6s stand out is you'll notice it's got a dual cleated belt over here. The standard 130s are going to have a single belt. So if you come across one of these 130s and you're not absolutely sure, carefully lean the machine back, look at the bottom. If you see a double cleated belt like this, then you're going to be looking at a 130-6. And the -6 is just the subclass of the machine. Pfaff made a number of different flavors of the 130 after they launched it in 1902. But the 130-6, and you'll be able to see that from the top as well, because at the top of the pillar is going to be just a little bit wider than a standard 130. See if I can show that to you. kind of look down on this machine here, you look at from where the embroidery kit is mounted to the rear to the front of the pillar, it's going to be about 3 to 4 millimeters wider than a standard 130. And they have to do that to allow for that extra cleated belt, because you have the dual cleated belts on the Dash 6 models. But I'll tell you one thing, it's evident to me when I opened up this embroidery kit on the back and I looked at the cleanliness of the machine, it's obvious to me that this machine has been treated with a great deal of care, a great deal of attention to care, and it's been taken care of. It's been shown the respect that we should all show to our vintage machines. Really quite incredible, isn't it? Yeah, what the heck? Let's go ahead and we'll wrap this live stream up in just a little bit. I'm just going to plug it in real quick. Let's put on a little bit more music. Yeah, we'll go ahead and plug it in real quick. Just going to do one check real quick. Before you plug a machine in like this, you just want to give a quick look at the wiring coming off the motor. These FOF motors have issues with the wire breaking down inside the motor. Let me show you right over here. These are the wires coming off the motor right here. The insulation coating on the outside looks like it's pretty good. I'm not seeing any brittleness to it. So, and I'm not seeing any bare wires. So we're going to plug this in and give it a go. I just have to move this other wire here that's running right underneath where these cleated belts are going to spin up. See that belt? Here's our side of the cleated belts right here with the pulley. And we've got a belt coming off of here that's going to be supplying the light. So I need to get that out of the way before I fire this machine up. Otherwise, those cleated belts could actually cut through this wire. So let me get that out of the way first. All right. So I've got it powered up right now. Just going to confirm that the cord is good. Check for the presence of electricity. And you could pick these up at your local hardware store. You can use them not only in checking electricity presence in a sewing machine, but really anything, even checking power cords and other sources of electricity, maybe even checking to see which cord is bad on your Christmas tree when we get to that point. But you just give it a turn. And then when we get over here by our plug-in point, we're just going to be checking for the presence of electricity. So that's positive. So what we're going to do, first of all, we'll take the more conservative route without me touching metal. And we'll give a check of this light to see if this light's going to fire up. There we go. And the way I'm turning it on, if you didn't see when I did it, is this little ring right here actually rotates. So you just give that ring a rotate. You'll, I guess if you're looking at it like this, you'd be rotating it counterclockwise. And then rotate it back the other way to shut it off. And certainly with this style bulb, this is probably a 5/8 inch bulb. If Jan wants me to, we can always replace this incandescent bulb with an LED bulb. The benefit would be a lot less heat and a lot more brightness. So I'll leave that up to her. She's the boss. If she tells me to do it, I'll do it. If she says, nope, I want the old-fashioned light, the incandescent style, then I'll leave it the way it is. So we got power to the light. That's good. Now let's see if we can power the machine up itself. So this is our 1.4 amp electronic foot controller. Set it right there. I'm going to take the main drive out because I didn't remove. Usually when you're testing a machine for the first time, you don't know if the hook timing is right. You don't know if there's other issues with the alignment of the feed dogs down here. Any of those things that could cause damage to the machine. You always want to launch with the machine without the main drive in effect. So right now when we fire it up, only the balance wheel is going to turn. We should get no needle movement down on that end. Okay, let's see what happens. Let's go over here. Can you hear that little bit of grinding sound? It's almost like something's rubbed. I think we can fix that pretty easily. And I'm going to tear the motor apart anyway, but just for right now. Right on this pulley, on this FOF 130-6, you're going to notice that there's movement. See that? That's not a flaw. That's by design. FOF designed that, that output pulley to be able to flux about 1 to 2 millimeters. So that when it engages, it distributes that power a little bit more evenly across the balance wheel, and you're less likely to get spinning. So when it kicks in, it'll flux out, and then when it's running, it'll kind of go in and out a little bit, depending on what you're doing with the foot controller. But this requires a little bit of lubrication. I got a little bit of grease off my finger, so I don't know if someone already tried to lubricate it or not, but I'm just going to put a little touch of oil. Now, the type of oil I used, I've shown it to you before. The type of oil I use is called a white. I'll show it to you. And this is not what I lubricate the machines with, but I use this for spot oiling on certain machines, on certain parts of the machine. But this is the stuff that I would highly recommend. It's called Crystal White or Lily White sewing machine oil. It doesn't have any of the coloring in it, and it doesn't result in causing staining to the machine or the oiling points. And it's just really, really good stuff. And then when I mix my oil to lubricate the machine, I use a combination of this and other lubrication agents that I won't mention right now. But this is a great oiling base to start with. Hopefully you can see that in the shot. And I buy it by the gallon. And believe it or not, they ship this stuff to you for free because they charge you enough for the oil. That's why. So we put a little bit of this Crystal White Lily stuff on that output pulley. Let's see if it's a little quieter. It might not quiet down a lot, but hopefully a little. I don't know if you can hear it through the camera, but it did quiet down quite a bit. So that's a tip for you as well. If you've got one of these 1.3 amp FOF motors, or they also made them in 1.1 amp as well, and you're getting a little bit of a squealing or a squeaking when you start up, just put a single drop of oil on the inside of that output pulley. You're going to put it right, see if I can point at it. You're going to put it right in this area right there, closest to the motor housing, so that it's going to seep inside of there where that output pulley is for the motor. And that'll quiet the motor down quite a bit. This motor needs a full service, which I'll give it. But in the meantime, it's going to run a little bit smoother, a little bit quieter. These are great motors. These are great motors. I've even seen some people mount these on Singer sewing machines because they're like, I want that extra power. I don't blame them. So I'm going to real quick take out the bobbin case. It's always a good idea to take out the bobbin case just in case the hook timing is off. We don't want to damage the bobbin case itself. And I'll hand rotate this first. Whenever you're getting to know a new machine, you always want to side with caution, and you want to hand turn things rather than hitting that foot controller straight away. So what I'm checking for is I'm just making sure that it looks like now we're on a zigzag, which we shouldn't be. Right now we've got the stitch width controller, and I think Jan told me this already. Right now we've got the stitch width controller on 0, which means we should be doing a straight stitch. And the needle should be moving. I'll kind of move it over here. The needle should be moving center mass on the throat plate and going up and down. But instead, we're getting the equivalent of a zigzag. So that tells me there's some calibration issues right away with this FOF 130-6. Because it should be doing a straight stitch right now, and it's not. Good news is we're not hitting the hook. Hey, yay! Which means I can get away with hitting the gas pedal right now. We'll just kind of give this a listen. And whenever you're test running a machine, unless you have material underneath the presser foot, between the presser foot and the feed dogs, always have your presser foot in the up position. Always, always, always have it in the up position. If you operate a machine with no material in a down position like this, it's going to do two things. And my leaders are incredibly smart. All of you are smart as well. What two things can happen if you're trying to show your machine off to somebody, you don't have material between here and here, and you're hitting the gas and you're running that machine with the presser foot down? What can result from doing that? What can result? I'm going to send an extra little bottle of that crystal white oil for Jan's joints, to lubricate her joints. I know there's certain mornings I get up as well. I could use a little bit of that oil too. So. Yeah, both Susie and Paula are exactly on the right track. Paula provided just a little bit more of a complete answer. So I'm going to go with Paula's answer. Susie's is great also, but it's a two-part thing. When you don't have material underneath here as a buffer, those feed dogs are going to be grinding against the bottom of your presser foot, whatever the presser foot is. And it's going to cause marring to the bottom of that presser foot attachment. It's also going to dull your feed dogs as well, because you got metal against metal. And that eventually is going to cause damage to the feed dogs, and then they won't be as effective in generating material feed, especially not in generating even material feed. So that's why we always test a machine, ideally with the bobbin case out, just in case there is a hook timing issue. And we also do it with the presser foot in the up position. Okay? And we can do a second test and actually check the feed dog feed as well. So I'll grab a little piece of material to do that with. These are just some of the initial impressions we can get. We know the calibration is off on the machine because we're getting a zigzag when we should be getting a straight stitch, but we're going to check these functions as well real quick. All right, so first of all, we're just going to check, see how that main drive is doing. The other thing I didn't do, and I should have, and this is a lesson for you, is you always want to, if you're getting a new machine in for the first time, always check to make sure that that needle clamp is nice and tight so you don't have that needle flux or loosen in a certain way and then strike your throat plate. You never want a needle to hit that throat plate because it causes scarring. And then as that thread is being fed onto the bobbin case, that thread is going to be catching on there and create all kinds of problems for you. Also, you can just do a quick check of your presser foot attachment as well. Yeah, I'm turned all the way on 0 right now, so calibration is an issue. All right, let's check feed dog feed. We'll also check reverse at the same time. So I'm just going to come back camera a little bit so you can see more of the machine. Yeah, there we go. And you'll notice when I go in reverse on the FOF, instead of going to the highest position of the stitch length controller like you do on most machines that we see on this channel, on the FOF, you have to go all the way to the bottom. So if I want to sew in reverse, I've got to push this all the way to the bottom like that, and then I'm sewing in reverse. Good. So we're getting good function overall. We've got some calibration issues, but the overall mechanics of the machine seem like they're in pretty doggone good shape. And through the workshop, we'll just make it better, right? Just gonna see. Yeah, I'll show you one other thing real quick. We'll see if it's working correctly. There we go. So we've got an issue also with, we also have an issue with the embroidery kit that I can tell you, because the way you engage, if you didn't know this, the way you engage the embroidery kit, you see this little pin right here in the middle. Normally when the embroidery kit is not engaged on a 130-6, it's going to be in that little slot right there, just like you see it right there. As soon as you pull it out and you rotate it, it's going to go into a little track on the back of here that's going to be mounted to that embroidery kit on the back. And sometimes you have to kind of wiggle this a little bit to get it in the track, but it's in the track pretty good. You can see that because as I move this, the lever for the embroidery kit in the back is moving as well. So we know that we're in the correct slot. The little slot is in that little plate right there. You can just barely see it. So when we engage this, we should be getting some motion in the back on the gears that are part of the embroidery kit, but we're not. So that's a mechanical issue that'll have to be addressed as well. Yeah, there's no motion. Let me try some different settings on it to see if that helps. There we go. There we go. So there's only a couple stages that are not working correctly. That's real dry. I'm reluctant to run it too far because it's very dry. Can you hear that? Let's do something about that. Yeah, let me get a paper towel real quick. And what I just applied is a combination of that crystal white sewing machine oil. And in my red bottle, I usually will keep a combination of crystal white and good old-fashioned kerosene. Kerosene is one of the best lubricants for not wicking away from the machine. It sticks with the machine. These mechanical gears require a lot of lubrication so that they're not damaged. So I would use this red bottle over one of my other bottles that has other lubrications agents in it, because this is going to be the most lasting. And we're still getting quite a bit of vibration out of that. It's going to require some adjusting. Getting better, but it's still louder than it needs to be. Still louder than it needs to be. But it gives you an idea, doesn't it? It gives you an idea, and you can watch the action of the cams here as they will rotate through a series of rotations, and sometimes they'll change direction as well, depending on the stick. Sorry about that. I had kind of a crummy camera angle. Now you can see it a lot more clearly. Amazing, isn't it? And this was a game changer for Faw, because they were one of the first ones to come up with the concept of mechanical cam generation for a zigzag machine to give it just limitless possibilities. Limitless possibilities. It's starting to loosen up a little bit, but it still needs got quite a bit of varnishing on there, and it needs to be cleaned up quite a bit. But this is a lot cleaner than I've seen other FOF 130-6s come into the workshop. Alberto's, for example, when it came in, you couldn't even see the metal. It was just crusted with varnishing and with some rust. So again, I think whether it was Betty or Jan or a combination of Betty and Jan, they've done a brilliant job of keeping this machine in a very, very good state. So unless there's any other questions, I'm going to kind of wrap this up now and let you get to enjoying the rest of your weekend. But I appreciate everybody kind of persevering through a couple of different things that we did during this live stream, you know, getting to talk a little bit about the past and Alberto and his family and the 130-6s that I had the honor and privilege to prepare for them. We talked a little bit about, well, we talked about all kinds of things, didn't we? That's the fun thing about the classroom. We go off on little tangents and we end up learning things that we otherwise wouldn't have learned. But I'm so grateful to Jan from the great state of Alabama for entrusting this treasure. This machine belonged to her mom, Betty. And it's possible before Jan joined us, I showed pictures that Jan shared with me of her mom and her standing with her mom and that. And these are just legacy machines. These have been in the family forever. And it's such a privilege to get them running just right and then being able to return them to that family. So not only Jan, but also generations after Jan can also possibly enjoy the incredible West German craftsmanship of the Model 130-6. You know, I get asked all the time from people around the world, what is your favorite sewing machine? What is your favorite sewing machine? I never really give them a straight answer. but this would definitely be in the top 5. This would be in the top 5 of machines for me. It's just a phenomenal machine. If you have a chance to pick one up, because they require a lot of, as you can see, even with one like this, but that's been maintained so well, it can have calibration or other issues with it. If you buy it somewhere like on eBay, just have them send it right to the workshop. A lot of customers do that. So just food for the thought, so you can avoid getting it to your place, getting frustrated, and then saying, "Oh, now I'm going to ship it to Scott," and you have to pay shipping twice. So just give that a consideration if you would. But again, my thanks to Jan Dixon down in the great state of Alabama, and also a project that I'm going to do in memory and honor of her mom, Betty, as well. So you'll hear Betty's name coming up quite a bit. But you guys have a great weekend. God bless you, and watch for other premieres. I'm going to be doing some other unboxings in the next couple of days. I've got a machine from Missouri, and I've got a machine from Oregon as well. How do you say that? Is it Oregon or Oregon? I think it's Oregon, isn't it? I better not say Oregon, because then they're going to be like, that guy don't even know how to talk. I think it's Oregon. At any rate, from that state that's next to Washington State in California, that one out there, that's one of the unboxings I've got to do as well. And this gentleman that got it to me really had to hop through some hoops, because he's a cross-country trucker, and he had to package it in one state, I think, and then he had to ship it from another state. So it was quite an adventure. But y'all take care. God bless, and stay safe. Have a great weekend, everybody. God bless you.